Hello everyone and welcome, whether you're joining us live or you're watching this at a later date on YouTube. Kelly here. We're working on some live classes just to get the sense of us all practicing together even though we can't be here in person. So today we're going to use a blanket and then a strap may be handy. You can use anything you have around the house, a belt, a tie, a scarf. If you don't have those things or you don't want to run and go grab something, you can always just hold your shirt when we get into that position or just reach your hands together. So the strap isn't necessary, but is helpful if you want to use it. So we're going to get started in a seated position. So come on down when you're ready. If you want to sit up on your blanket or if you have a little meditation cushion or something like that, feel free to use that. Get all settled, bring yourself into the space wherever you are. Let go of whatever else was going on earlier this morning in order to get you here to this space of stillness. And also letting go of what may happen later today or the rest of your week. We'll just start to bring our awareness into the here and now. Knowing that our mind might wander, it might go into the past, it might travel into the future, but we always have the ability to bring it back. Today, we're going to take our focus as we practice on our mat to the idea of shifting judgment into observation. So we practice this on our mat by noticing things about our physical body, noticing things about our breath, and we work to detach from the judgment associated with it. That starts to get into that mind stuff, whether we like it, whether we don't. We really want to just observe and notice without attaching any judgment to it, and then let it go. So just think about that as we focus on the breath. Continuing to bring yourself to a more aligned and centered position. And some of the ways that judgment can creep into our day-to-day lives, especially when faced with these new times, a new challenge, our judging an overall system, bigger idea. We might take that judgment towards others, the way they're handling or approaching this situation. And then of course we can turn that judgment on ourselves. So I've seen a lot of things through social media and some experiences personally of just kind of spreading that judgment around of how we think people should be using their time, how we think people should be handling a situation, or how we think we should be handling our situation. Let go of all of that judgment. Coming to a place where we just notice if a feeling arises, that's perfectly fine. And then we use our breath to let it go. At the end of your last exhale, stay with the eyes closed in your centering position. And then we're just going to reach the hands straight up. They might be in more of a Y shape in order to really drop the shoulders away from the ears. You can also bring a slight bend into the elbows, or you can come into that full upward facing hands pose. Notice what part of your posture has changed. Have you let the front rib cage move forward? And again, we're just observing without any judgment what happens as we change one aspect of our posture. Can you find the same ease through the muscles of the face? Allow the shoulders to soften. And continue with that slow, steady breath. You may already notice some judgment building up about being in the shape already. So seeing if you can let that go with an exhale. And at the end of your next full breath, we'll start to blink the eyes open, just noticing any tension in the neck, start to release that out. And then we're going to twist towards the right side. Bring that left hand out in front of you, cross over the knee, and then gently rotate to one side. Just nice, easy, gentle twist. You can roll the head and neck out here. With our next inhale, bring it back, find a little bit more extension without letting that front rib cage come forward, and then rotate to the other side. Good, nice full inhale, reach up through the top of the head. Exhale, maybe move the head and neck. Good, we'll take 2 more in each direction. Start to move a little bit more fluid with the breath. So inhale, bring it up. And exhale. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale. Following that rhythm, weaving that intentional inhale and exhale. This time, last time, we're going to go a little deeper. Inhale, and over. Good, we'll rotate back to center. Lean back on your seat and just switch the cross of the legs. Sitting up nice and tall again, we'll start by bringing the right hand out to the side and coming into a little side bend. So reach that top arm up, maybe peek on the inside of the arm, bending the bottom elbow to release the shoulder away from the ear. And then we're going to start to make some big arm circles. So pull the elbow back, reach it down towards the floor behind you. Inhale, sweep it up and over. Again, pull the elbow back. Use the bent elbow to get a little bit more of a rotation in the shoulder. And then inhale, sweep it up. One more like that. Inhale and exhale. Good. From this position, as we come into that side body stretch, maybe get a little deeper. And then we're going to reverse the circle in the opposite direction. Bring the elbow down in front. Sweep it back and behind you. Good. 2 more times, just like that. And taking that stance of the conscious observer, noticing, becoming more aware of each little movement, of the space between the inhale and the exhale. As you finish out that last one, we'll reach it up and over again, and we'll come all the way back up to center, gather in that strength through the core, over to the other side, left hand down, right hand reaches up. Get settled in the hips, so notice if that hip lifts up off the floor, see if you can ground it down, and then start to create that rotation. Elbow pulls back, sweep it down and up and over. And as with all of our yoga, it is a constant practice. So this act of switching our circles out when you're ready, this act of switching our judgment into observation, the movements that we find on our mat. It's all something that we are constantly practicing. It's not something that we try once and all of a sudden, poof, we no longer judge anything, right? Doesn't quite work that way. So this is a practice. This is something we continually work on. Take one more big stretch, maybe peek up, and then gather in strength through the center and lift it back up. Good, nice job. All right, we're going to switch to knees, coming into a tabletop position. If you want to spread out your blanket so you have a little extra cushion for the knees, feel free to do so. When you get into that posture, we'll just start off with the fingers spread wide and start to shift the weight forward and back. So we're bringing the shoulders slightly over the wrist crease to find that stretch and then back. Just try that about 2 or 3 more times. Pressing down through all 10 fingertips, really gripping the mat, feeling that strength build up in the hands. One more. And then we're going to do the same thing as we turn the hands back. Good, so you might do this one at a time, especially if the forearms are a little tight. You can do one at a time and you're just going to lean back. Feel that stretch, and you might not go as far. The range of motion might be a little different. You can do both at the same time or switch it out. What happens when we bring in that judgment into our practice is then we start down a path of evaluating the past or maybe thinking about what the plan is for the future. And as we know, part of our practice is just finding what is happening right in the present moment. We'll come back to center, and then we'll move into some cat-cow movement. So spread out through the fingertips again, look for the mat in between each finger, and we'll inhale, lift it up. Exhale, round. Good. Try a few more on your own. And the same thing happens on the mat. So when we notice a tight area in the body or an area that doesn't feel quite right, judgment, we start thinking of why, the story that went along with why the body is a little tight. You might judge a certain situation that brought you to that point. But if you just notice without judgment and try to let it go, then you don't get caught up in what's happened or finding a solution right in this moment. Those will come with time. The end of the next exhale will come all the way back to a tabletop position. Good. Sit back on the heels, or you can come up to the knees here or here and just roll out those wrists. Good. You can squeeze the fists together and make little circles again. Get out all the snap, crackle, pops. And then we're going to make our way back into that tabletop position, bringing our cat-cow movement a little bit more into the shoulders. So what we're going to do is push down. This is a little bit harder to see on the camera, but we're going to push down and squeeze the shoulder blades together, almost like you're shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears. And then you're going to push into the floor again and round the upper back. So the movement's more in the upper back than it is the lower part of the body. So push in to round that upper back, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together like you're trying to hold a pencil between the shoulder blades. And then when you round up again, that pencil would roll off the rounded back towards the floor. Take a few more and think about just getting around those shoulder blades like they are moving on the back, together and apart. Good. You might even feel some sensation around those shoulder blades, maybe a little sound as things start to move around. We'll take one more, and then back to that tabletop position. Good. From here, we're going to walk the hands one handprint forward, getting a little bit longer stance. Press down into all 10 fingers, tuck your toes under, and make your way up into a downward facing dog. Good. This first one here, we're just noticing again Observing what that feels like to be in this shape, possibly for the first time today. Shake out the head and neck. We'll inhale, lift up onto the ball of the foot, feel those heels rise, and then notice if the weight shifted into the wrists. Press the chest back, maybe bend the knees, and then lower the heels back down. We're going to take that nice and slow a couple more times. Inhale, lift those heels up, try to lift up from the hips. Notice if those shoulders rounded forward and the weight pours into the wrists, press the chest back, and then push those heels down. Last one like that. Lift up those heels, lift the hips up, try to press the chest back. And then when you're ready, we're going to lower the left knee down towards the floor. Keep that right leg extended. Good. Come up onto the right fingertips. You can move that right hand back a little bit. And you're going to pivot the right foot open to face towards the right side of the room. Good. Check in here, checking in on your balance first. And notice if you need to pivot the bottom shin back. That's going to give you a little bit more stability, or if you want more of a challenge for stability, keep the shin in line. Okay. From here, we're going to reach this right arm up and all the way towards the ceiling. Notice if this right hip is kind of tucked under. That's going to lift the heel. Really see if you can slide it back in line with the left hand and the left knee. Good. Reach it straight up. And then again, checking in on stability. Adjust, make sure you feel as stable as possible. And then we're going to start to add some movement into that top arm. We're going to start by stretching it up and over. One long line through the side body. And then pull the elbow back. Reach it back behind you. Sweep it down towards the hip. And up and over out in front. Good. About 3 more times. Elbow pulls back. As you do that, see if you can get a little rotation in the chest, maybe a deeper stretch through the side, and then up and over. Good. Pause when you get back into that side body position, side body stretch. And then we'll move our circles forward. So bring it out in front of you. Reach it all the way back. It may be slightly easier to keep the arm a little straighter, but bend that elbow. Whenever you find the shoulder stuck, bend the elbow to give it a little bit more space and movement. Just one more here. Stability through the lower half of the body the entire time. And then pause when you get back into that lengthened position. Back down into your tabletop. Good. Rock those hips side to side. Good. We'll come back to that tabletop position. Lift the right leg straight back. And then we're going to work to step it to the top of the mat. So bring it out to the side. Same leg that we just had extended back. And toe heel. Ankle. And then walk the hands up to the right knee. Feeling this lift in the chest, but again, checking in on the rib cage. So is that opening just coming from the lower part of the body, or can you bring the rib cage down and feel the chest lift with the back? Good. And then once you find stability here, so if you need to keep those hands down on floor blocks or possibly the knee, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, we'll bring those arms straight up. Palms face in towards one another. Pinkies wrap in slightly more than the thumbs. And here we just notice. Notice what's happening through the muscles of the face. Are you already jumping into all the things you have to correct, fix, change? Or can you be right here with the breath, simply noticing? Sometimes as we develop more of a regular practice, whether that's you or not, we start to compare how the body feels from one day to the next. But stepping back from that and noticing or knowing That every day, every experience, every time we get on our mat is going to be completely different. So not judging that day, that time frame, and just letting it be the practice it will be today. One more inhale. See if you can find a little bit more extension, stretching up and pushing down through the right foot at the same time. And then bring it all the way back down. Nice job. Good. Walk the hands on the inside of the foot, swing that right leg back, tabletop position. And we'll take about 3 cat-cows. If there's another movement that's good for you, circling the hips around, feel free to try that out too. At the end of the next exhale, we'll make our way into our downward facing dog again. So walk those hands forward, tuck your toes under, and lift it back up. Wrap the shoulders away from the ears. Let the head relax. And then here we're going to really focus on lengthening the back. So we're going to bend the knees and push the hips up towards the ceiling. Good. Try that out again. And then straighten out the legs. So bend the knees, push the hips up, almost like you're trying to get the bottom of your butt right at the top of the hamstring to stick up higher towards the ceiling. See if you can activate that area. One more, bend the knees, stick that butt up, and then push those heels towards the floor. They will not touch. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the right knee down towards the floor. Good. Pivot the left heel down. Check in on stability. Left fingertips walk back, maybe halfway on the mat. And then start to tuck the hips forward. Good. Check in here. And then pull that left arm back straight up towards the ceiling. Feel really wobbly here. Here's your chance to turn the right shin behind you. That's going to give you a little bit more opening. Good. From this position, we'll just check in, open up through the chest, open up through the hips, scoop that tailbone under, and then start to circle and open the arm and the shoulder. Left elbow back, reaches behind you down towards the floor, and then up and over. Taking this side and noticing its individual qualities just from that place of observation. We'll come back to center, find that nice side body stretch, reach it up and over, and then bring that hand out in front, reverse your circles. Bring that mobility into that shoulder, moving with the breath, trying not to get stuck. When you're ready, we'll bring that arm up and over again. One more full inhale. And then exhale, lower that left hand down. Good. From here, pivot to face towards the floor again. And then lift up that left leg. Inhale, we'll lengthen. Look out in front. And then exhale, left knee steps to the top of the mat. If it doesn't land where you want it, grab it with the hand and wiggle it the rest of the way there. Stepping into our lunge. We'll roll the shoulders back. Start to lean forward, just enough to feel a little stretch in that right thigh, and then we'll walk the hands up when you're ready. Shoulders relax down the back. Pull the head back so that you're not opening up just through the front of the neck. And then also pay attention to the front rib cage. See if you can draw them down and lift up through the top of the head. Once you feel steady, wherever that might be for you, then we'll reach those arms up. Pinky fingers wrap in, shoulders melt away from the ears. So just like we did in the very beginning of class, if you need to have more of a Y shape in your arms or a slight bend in the elbow, that's perfectly fine. Just starting to find that sense of opening and energy drawing up into the fingertips. So notice if those fingertips are just kind of hanging out. See if you can really extend. Good. Stay with the breath. Last one. Stay for the entire inhale and exhale. And then bring your hands back down. Both hands land on the inside of the foot and swing that left leg back. Good. We're going to widen out our knees and come back into a child's pose. So toes together, hips push back towards the heels, walk the fingertips forward, and melt down. Good. From this position, just come into that sense of relaxation, letting go completely. About 3 more breath cycles in your child's pose. All right, from here, back to our tabletop position. We're going to move our blanket out of the way this time so we can transition into a forward fold. Walk those hands forward. Tuck the toes under and slowly lift those hips up. Third time around in your downward facing dog, find any opening that feels good for you. So you might just let the head hang and breathe here. You could work on pedaling the legs, nice slow movements to really open up the hamstrings one at a time. You could push down through the back of the feet to lift up the toes. Balls of the feet stay grounded the whole time. And just take 2 more complete breaths. Notice if you can draw the outer edges of the arms down, same way you wrapped the pinkies in when we were doing our upward facing hands pose. When you're ready, bend those knees. Start to walk the feet up towards the hands. Use anything you need to hold on to as you get there. Inhale, we'll pull forward. Create length in the spine. At the same time, pull those hip creases back. And then we'll exhale, deepen, and fold. Let the head relax. Good. This time, those hands are going to come up to the shins. We'll get a slight bend in the knees, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, fold a little deeper. Good. Third, half lift. Hands come up just above the knees. Again, slight bend in those knees. Pull the heart forward. And then exhale, fold. Last time, we're coming all the way up. Hands reach out to the sides. Good. Squeeze the back of the body as you lift. Palms face together. Big inhale. And exhale. Those hands come down through center. Good. Take that moment again here in Tadasana to find that place of observation. Root down through the bottom of the feet, pull the head back. Good. Check in here. When you're ready, blink the eyes back open. Good. You can gather your strap or your tie if you're using one, and we'll have that close by. And then we're going to turn to face towards the right side of the mat. So I'll face you guys. From this position, we're going to step the feet out to a wide position. Good. First, checking in on the feet, we want to let the outer edges of the feet line up with the outer edges of the mat. So it's almost like your feet are pigeon-toed a little bit. And then, as you bring the hands to the hip crease, we're going to start to root down. So as the hip crease is right here at the top of the thighs, not way up here by the waist, see if you can push down and the outer edges of the feet kind of get a little bit more grounded. So just a little gentle pressure feels our rooting down into the floor. Good. Checking in on stability here. See if you can pull the thighs up, really engaging the legs. Good, nice job. All right, from here, we're going to come into Gomukhasana, arms starting with our right arm. So open up your strap, just send it over the right shoulder. Good. You're going to reach that right arm up towards the ceiling and then slowly bend the elbow and hold onto the strap. I'll turn around to show you what that looks like. Good. You're going to hold onto the strap and then take the left hand way at the base of the spine and pull down. Good. You can stay here, pulling down with the bottom hand and keeping your top elbow wrapping in the entire time. Good. Or if you'd like to go a little deeper, once you have that top elbow wrapping in, you can start to wiggle that that bottom hand up to get a little closer together. If you do not have a strap, you can use your shirt. So just hold on to 2 points of your shirt, or you can just spread your hands out and reach in the same direction. So lots of options here. Good. Notice if you forgot, once you got into this arm position, if you forgot all about the lower half of the body. Root down through the feet, draw up through the front of the thighs, tuck the tailbone under slightly, and check in on the breath. Good, let's take one more full inhale. Exhale all the way. That bottom arm slides down the strap first, release that bottom shoulder, and then the top arm reaches up and comes all the way down. Take a roll in both those shoulders. We're going to bring a slight bend into the knees, pull the heels in for a little shoulder stretch. So place the hands on the knees and just lean one shoulder forward. You're kind of pushing the knees slightly wider as you drop one shoulder, and then do the other arm. Good. Roll it back up. Pop those heels out, ground down into the bottom of the feet again. Draw up through the front of the thighs, root down in the hips, and then switch your strap to the left side. Good. Reach your left arm up. Sometimes in class we take that upper arm and roll it in so the palm faces behind you, and then bring the hand down to the strap. Good. If this is enough for you, you could stay here. You can even reach up and just hold that elbow tucked towards the ear, and this could be your variation. Good. If you want to add that bottom arm, bring it all the way down to the bottom of the strap so it starts nice and low. Roll the shoulder head back, and then you can start to deepen as you feel ready. Notice what corrections you make in the body. So just to get those hands together, do you let the rib cage pop forward and come into a back bend? That is not what we want to do. So bring that front rib cage down, lengthen the spine, tuck the tailbone under. Good. And come back to the breath. Very common to notice big differences between one side and the other. So notice, are you judging those differences? Or can we just notice and be okay with how it is? Checking in, notice if you're clenching the toes towards the mat, hold on, see if you can release them. Relaxing the neck, make sure the head and neck, muscles of the face aren't doing any of the work. And then when you're ready, we'll slide that bottom hand down, release that first, give it a little roll, release the top arm up, and bring it out. Good, roll those shoulders out. And then slowly bend the knees again, turn those heels in. We'll sink back down, little shoulder stretch each side. And bring it down to the other side. And then we'll come back up into a goddess position. So using the hands, let those knees open wide, tracking over the toes. Scoop the tailbone under. Try to maintain that depth in the legs. And then we'll bring the hands to heart center. Give the arms a little break from reaching up. One more inhale. Push into the inner edges of the feet to draw up. Good. Turn the feet to face Toes to face forward again, and we'll step it back up to the top of the mat. Roll those shoulders out, check in, turn back towards the front. All right, from here, we're going to step to the other direction. So turn towards the left side of the room and then step it out. Good. All right, from here, we're going to come into that Gomukhasana arms again, finding a new variation. So start on the right side. I'm going to turn towards you since it's a little easier, but you'll face in the opposite direction. And then reach that right arm up. Find Gomukhasana arms second time around. Check in, root down through the feet, shake out the head and neck. Once you get set up in that position, you're going to hinge forward at the hips. Inside of the thighs, roll back as you shoot your right elbow forward. Pausing when you start to round the shoulders. So if you get to this position and you already start to let your elbow point towards the floor, then pause here. Bring it back up, lift the chest. You don't have to go very far to start to feel it. And you don't need to go any further than a flat back position. That's going to keep that nice long spine. Gazing straight down at the floor instead of behind you. Keep lifting the hips up like we did in our downward facing dog position. Take one more inhale. And then push into those feet, draw it back up. Squeeze the inside of the thighs as you come up. Nice job. All right, switch to the other side. So strap comes to the left shoulder. Reach it up. Grab onto your strap. Back hand comes behind. Find that position a little deeper and maybe slightly easier, maybe not. Root down into the feet. Inhale. Exhale, hinging at the front of the, at the hip creases. Yeah, front of the thighs. Long spine. You don't have to go very far forward. Try to keep your hips over your heels so that keeps the weight in the front of the feet. Gazing straight down, elbow pointed straight forward. Strengthening those back muscles. Two more breaths. When you're ready, lift it back up, squeeze the inside of the thighs together. Nice job. Release those arms out. Place your strap out to the side. Good. From here, we'll root down into the feet. And we're going to turn the right toes to point. And then left toes will come slightly out. Good. We'll do both sides here, so either one you end up in. Just like y'all are downtown with me because the train's coming by, so just embrace that as part of our practice. As we move into our warrior two, the front knee is bent, back leg is nice and straight, rooting down through the outer edge of the foot. Reach those arms up. Gaze over the front fingertips. Check back in on that front rib cage. Can you draw it down in order to create more length through the spine? From here, take your back hand down the back leg, front hand lifts up, reverse warrior. Good. Maybe starting to look up. One more inhale. Notice what's going on in that front leg and just observe the sensations without judgment. Back up to center and then straighten it out. Good. Pivot the feet in the opposite direction. So left toes will point out, right heel pops open slightly and deepen into your warrior two. Reach through those fingertips, shake out the head and neck here. One more full inhale. And then reach it back, reverse warrior. Good. Top hand lifts. The deep crease in the hip stays there, so don't straighten out that front leg in order to get a stretch through the side body. One more full inhale, reach a little bit deeper. And then exhale, work your way back to center. Good, push into those feet. We'll turn all 10 toes to face forward once again, hands to the hips, and step the feet back together. Good, wiggle out those legs, check in, and then grab your strap or your prop one more time. This isn't necessary to have that again, but it will be helpful if you have one. So either way, good, I'll give you options for both. You're just gonna fold your strap in half if you have a traditional yoga strap, or have just something that can be slightly wider than shoulder width apart, okay? All right, so you're gonna come into a slightly smaller V stance. So we had that nice wide stance earlier. You wanna bring it in a little bit more narrow. So slightly wider than maybe the width of a mat. We're gonna start off by reaching the arms up, out in front of you. Plug the shoulders back like we did in the beginning of class. Shake out the head and neck here. And then extend those arms all the way up. Good. Let them go behind any amount without letting the elbows bend. So just finding that opening. Feel that opening in the back of the neck. Release any tension. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. And then check back in on that rib cage. So this is not a back bend. We're not trying to push the hips forward. We're just trying to open up the shoulders. So bring the front of the rib cage down, tuck the tailbone under. Notice how that feels different. Inhale here, and then exhale, we'll bring those arms back down. Good, keep one hand on the strap and bring the strap behind you. Good, so it'll look like this. Good, it's gonna start kind of right under the butt or at the butt, and then you're gonna pull the arms back any amount, trying to keep the arms straight. The range of motion will be a lot different here. And then again, check in, are you coming into a back bend, or can you bring the front of the rib cage down and tuck the tailbone under? Good, from this position, take an inhale. Strap comes back down to rest at the back of the hips, and then you're gonna fold forward. Good, pause here at about flat back position, shake out the head and neck, and then decide if you'd like to let the hands reach up. If the hands are reaching up and it feels okay and safe for your body to lean forward a little bit more, you can do that. You can also let the hands fall away. If you do not have a strap, you're gonna bring one hand over the other or interweave the fingers and let the hands fall away any amount. So this variation, one hand over the other, is gonna give you more of a range of motion. Fingers together is gonna be a little bit more challenging for the shoulders. Do what makes sense for your body and take about 3 more breaths. Check in on those feet. Make sure the heels are slightly lighter than the front of the feet. Last one. All hands and straps come to the low back first. Push through those feet, draw through the inner edges of the thighs, and lift it up. Great job. All right. Place your strap off to the side again. Step those feet together. Good, we're gonna come into one more forward fold, just with the feet together, so you can turn to face towards the front of your mat, whichever feels best for you. Hands on the hip creases. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold forward. Good, bend the knees enough to get the hands somewhere on the lower half of the leg, so knees are down. You can be at the calves, the ankles, the toes. We're gonna bend the elbows to pull the heart forward and get a little stretch to the back of the leg. So they may not straighten completely. They can stay bent, whichever feels best for you. Inhale to create space, and then exhale. Use that upper body to pull yourself closer. Let the shoulders pull away from the ears, and take about 3 breaths. Last one. When you're ready, bend the knees enough to bring the hands down towards the floor. Walk the feet back, either into a kneeling virasana position. You can sit on the heels, or if that is not comfortable for your body, you can just sit on your blanket like we did in centering. So find a seated position. This just switches it up from what we did earlier. And we're going to come into our last shoulder stretch. So hopefully those arms are feeling it. All right, we're coming into eagle arms next. So we're going to reach those hands out to the sides, lengthen up through the sides of the torso, and we're going to take the right arm over the left. Good. Twist those arms up. Try to hook your fingertips on the palm. If that doesn't feel quite right for you, cross your forearms and just bring the back of the hands together. Either way, wherever you are, start to lift the elbows up and drop the shoulders down. Good. The forearms are going to be right in front of your nose. Soft gaze towards the forearms, and then relax the head and neck. Check back in on the upper body. So sometimes even when we round the shoulders forward, we start to come into a little bit more of a rounded position in the spine. See if you can lengthen up the back of the body. Okay. Reach up through the top of the head and come back to the breath. Two more. Good. When you're ready, we're going to reach those fingertips straight up, releasing that tension. Let those arms reach all the way out. Good. Give a few rolls in those shoulders, noticing how one side feels a little different than the other. Hands reach out. Cross left arm over right. Start by seeing what this side has to offer. Lift the elbows up slightly. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. So you want to try to keep the elbows and the shoulders on a parallel line. And then the forearms are parallel to the face. Good. Making a 90-degree bend in the elbows. Check in on the spine so we get those arms into the position, and then we find that opening in the back of the body. Relax the neck and the shoulders. And even if the posture is not the most comfortable position you've ever been in, find little areas of ease. Last one. When you're ready, we're reaching those fingertips all the way up, out to the sides. Let it open up. Nice job. Roll those shoulders back and down. Roll out the head and neck. All right, we're going to come into one last shoulder stretch, countering some of the movements that we've done. So if you have your blanket, that's going to be helpful. You're going to take your blanket and you're going to roll it up, just a loose roll, kind of in thirds, so you have something to lean against. And the idea is you're going to find the same cross in the arms. So it looks like this as you lay on the belly. Palms are going to face up, and you're going to feel a stretch through the outer edges of the arms. So as you lay down, this is what the arms are going to look like. Just one arm in front of the other, and then we'll switch and do the other. So as you come down, you're letting the chest be propped up on your blanket so that your elbows will come over the blanket to come onto the floor. Good. So cross over, one arm, and then the other in front. Good. Palms face up towards the ceiling. Push down through the top of the feet. Tuck of the tailbone, squeezing the glutes to find that opening. Inhale all the way. And then exhale. You're just going to let the head come down. As you add, you go to the head, you lift a deeper stretch through the outer edges of the arms. So rest your chin, that front arm. Just keep moving the arms into a tighter reach position.
As you find that space, eventually letting go of the activation in the legs, the activation in the glutes, and just breathe here. At the end of that last inhale and exhale, slowly release those arms out. You can push up just enough to switch out. Bring that front arm behind. And then opposite arm in front. Flip those palms up. Inhale to activate. Lift the chest. Scoot those hips forward. Inhale. And then exhale. Deepen and let go. At the end of that last exhale, slowly unweave the arms. Slide the hands back a little deeper. Push into those hands and reach it all the way back into child's pose once again. Widen out the knees. Feel free to keep the arms out, or you can wrap them back behind for a little bit more of a deeper fold. Good. Breathe where you are. Last, we'll inhale and exhale here. From this position, we'll slowly begin to roll up. Good. Swing the legs out to the side, coming onto your back. If you want to use that rolled blanket for the knees, for relaxation, feel free to do that. If you have another prop you'd like, you can do that. And then as you come down, we'll begin to pull the knees into the chest. Good. So take your first few breaths to just check in. Know, feels, what's going on in the body. And take the information that our practice has provided without being judgmental of what did or. So not even trying to not even judge the practice hard, challenging, or easy. Just take what it is at this moment for our body and mind. Good. I'd say that's one of the most challenging things, is to not evaluate our practice as easy or too hard. Good. From here, extend those legs out. If there's any other movement you need, feel free to bring that in at this time. Otherwise, we'll slide the shoulders under the back of the body. Let the feet fall open. Extend those hands down to the sides. And come into your complete relaxation. Here in this position, we let go of all effort. And we've made that sense of observation, such a focus for class. But now we can even let go of that. So no longer looking for things to observe, just finding release. Slowly taking your time to bring awareness back to the surface of the body, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling out wrists and ankles. One by one, we'll bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, your props, and then gently roll onto one side. Resting here for a moment, take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, push up with that top hand, lifting the head last, all the way up into a seated posture.
We'll close here with the hands at the heart center. Taking a nice big inhale. Nice long exhale. Thanking your mind and body for being in this place of a conscious observer. Letting go of judgment and knowing that this practice here on our mat makes us more able to let go of that judgment as we face it in our day-to-day lives. Maybe times when it's more challenging to release that sense of judgment. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you all. Thanks for tuning in.